Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome to the Dear Love Podcast. You can catch us at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Listen Notes, Google Music, Podbean, all that good stuff. You already know how this go. Let's get right into it. I had a discussion with some friends a couple of days ago, and I asked, why are women broke, or why are men broke? I just wanted to compare the two. I was saying statistically, women shouldn't be broke, only because they're the ones that's usually getting showered with gifts. Now, I know it's some guys who get gifts and women take care of them and things like that, but I was only thinking statistically, which I still could be wrong, but I just feel like women are the ones who get showered. Hey, I'll buy you this, I'll buy you that, I'll do this for you. Men, we don't really get it like that. The only time men really get it like that, I feel, is with the so-called quote unquote cougars. The women who come around and basically pay for the guy. You see that in a lot of movies, but it's always an older woman. But then I can't really say that either, because it's always an older guy doing it also. But which brings us back to the beginning, who does it more? Like, I just felt like women shouldn't be broke. I feel like women are a species that show a great power. You know what I mean? And some things you just can't really see with them. Like men, I don't feel like you can see a man being weak. That ain't really part of our DNA. That ain't part of how we were built. You see a weak man, and I feel like that's when you prone to say stuff like, you ain't no man, or, you screw up your face and look a certain way. Because men not supposed to be weak. We weren't designed for that. So again, I feel like women aren't designed to be broke. They have too much going for themselves to be broke. What do they always say? You could want the woman as bad as you want. You could buy her flowers, you could buy her a car, you could buy her a house, but at the end of the day, if that woman don't want to lay down with you, it ain't happening. Because if you decide to do it yourself, you already know what that turns into. She got to be willing to let you in. So with that being said, they do really have all the power in a sense. They should be able to control a lot of stuff, but they don't. But that's why men and women, to me, got to get on the same pages. We got to both be worth something to each other. Dear Love, episode 72. I don't know why people feel the need to come talk to me about most of their issues, which I'm fine with. There's nothing wrong with it. I guess I give them that type of psychiatrist vibe or something. But I always find myself helping someone or in a situation where somebody got something going on and they ask for my expertise on it. Cool. But you ever hear some stuff that you can't handle though? Like, not even being funny. A lady came up to my walk up and I always say, how you doing? You never really expect nobody to say they're not doing well. You expect everybody to say, oh, we're doing okay. So she said, I said, how you doing? She said, well, I'm not doing well. My husband just died. Whoa. I wasn't ready for that one. I was sitting there and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Now, this is the thing. You got to genuinely care, okay? And she can tell that I really care, because that is serious. Now, when I was growing up, I didn't used to really care about what people went through. I'm not going to say I didn't care. I didn't care as much as I should, put it that way. Because you never realize that, it's like, let's say somebody does pass in the family. Let's say it's your fourth cousin. His auntie passed. You just like, oh, okay. What you doing today? Like, you don't really feel it, you know what I'm saying, unless it's you. But I had to really learn, like, no, that's real for everybody. That person was real special to them, the same way they would be special to me, and I got to really be there. Or how many times have you lost your keys? How did you feel when the person next to you lost their keys? You ain't care, did you? We're designed to not really care that much. Like, I've lost my keys plenty of times, and I'm talking about I didn't flip the whole house upside down to get them. But in my head, I'm thinking, why don't nobody care as much as me? They never gonna care as much as you. So like when I hear people say like, "Oh man, you seen my keys?" It's like, no. You just look at them. That's how I used to be. But now, like I said, I had to learn to really start caring about more stuff. So when the lady told me her husband passed, I'm like, wow. You know, and we had a long talk. Now, no, she just came up there to get a sandwich, but we ended up talking for a long time. I ended up giving her a hug. She ended up crying a little bit. And she told me, you know, you're a good guy. You know, thank you for listening to my story. Because you never know. Now, let's say she owned something, you know what I mean? Or she was a millionaire or something, and she just wanted somebody to hear her story. I remember it was a TV show, or it might have been on, well, it was a show. I think, not necessarily a show, but people, I believe it was on YouTube. People go around and they just test different things. Then they pay you if you listen to their problems. Like, a couple people would go through the drive-through and they'll wait and they'll like take forever with their order. And if you cuss, then you lose the challenge. I'm trying to remember the name of that show, but basically just testing your patience and testing you as a person. If you genuinely care about people, you're not going to, rush them. I be trying to tell my people that, like, why y'all rush everybody? Just calm down. It's okay. Everybody here working as a team. They come in here to get what they got to get, and they leaving. We don't got to give them no attitudes. We ain't got to act crazy. We ain't got to do none of that. But the lady, like I said, we had that long talk, and she told me how her husband, was overseas. Just different things. It's like you learn so much about people, and it just had me looking like, okay, every person that you see every day, whether they walking down the street, whether they in the car, everybody got their own story. And it's a good one. And it's like, it's more intriguing to know that everybody you see going up and down the street has their own story. Could you imagine if life was like a TV show and you could step into somebody else's world just to watch? Just that person you went down the street with, that you honked your horn at. Who's to say something ain't just happened 5 minutes ago? And then they hop out and they ready to fight. We don't know. But that's why that would be dope. Like, if it could be like a TV show. You will always get to see what somebody else doing or what somebody else thinking. But we don't really want to know what they thinking. We know how that go. But you'll be able to really watch them and see how it go. That'd be crazy. It'll give you a new perspective, though, because you will start to understand or start to feel when people lose their keys, or like she said, oh, I lost my husband. You'll care more, because then you can say, well, let me watch her story. Let me see how she felt when they first met, or when they first did this, or they first did that. Or even our parents. You know how our parents get on us and they whoop us and do things like that? Imagine if you could watch their story from the beginning. If you could watch your mom being raised, or watch your dad being raised. Because you let's admit, don't we get tired of I did all of that. I did this. No, you didn't. You didn't do it like this. But imagine if you could watch it. If so, you did that, show me. And you get to feel what they feel and everything. But you watching though, it's not you. I'm sure it's some type of machines we building that can do this type of stuff. But could you imagine how that would be? You would have a new perspective on life. You have a new perspective on everything. Imagine if you could step in the body of a teacher that teaches the class, the one that you threw paper at, the one that you cussed out, the ones whose class you skipped, or somebody who works for the city. I mean, anything, any occupation, anything that we think is not hard or we look down upon. Imagine if you can do it for a couple of days. What do they always say? Step in my shoes for a minute. It's pretty real. It's all fun and games until we got to do it. All of those movies that we see at the movies that we say, oh, that movie ain't good. Imagine if you had to do the movie though. Imagine if you had to do the acting or read all of those scripts and things like that. You'll be messed up. You'll be, oh no, I didn't sign up for this. But that's why we gotta respect everybody. Respect everybody's grind. Everybody grind different. Everybody move different. You know what I'm saying? But that's what makes us a collective. That's what brings everybody together. So now I think about those cars going down the street of the person that I might not know. That's somebody's mom. That's somebody's son, somebody's daughter, anything. We got to keep that in mind. We so self-centered, you know, we only worry about us. So we need some stuff that'll wake us up too, some stuff that'll get us together. Because, I mean, that's the only way we'll truly understand each other. That's the only way we'll move different. Because I know if I had to step in my dad's shoes or my mom's shoes or grandmother or anything like that, you would have a whole new outlook. Could you imagine having a job back in the day and your boss didn't like you and they trying to get you fired or any of that stuff? Now, one thing I would love to do, I was telling my brother, like, man, the high school, it looks amazing. Now, when I was going there, it didn't look how it look now. I wouldn't mind redoing that. Now, like, if I could go back to high school one more time, I would definitely do that. I would probably even try the college thing. But other than that, I don't think I would enjoy any of it. I got my own issues. I wouldn't want to step in somebody else's shoes and deal with their issues. That's why, like I say, just respect each other. Just keep it rolling and just be courteous. That way, we don't offset nothing or we don't make nobody, you know, mad or nothing like that. We all come together. We all work it out and we do what we do. Listen, it's my job to just make sure you have a good time while you around me. That's why they always say, you know the vibe. Hey, you know the vibes when I'm around. That's the vibe I'm going to always give off. And I'm going to try not to change that because once it's changed, then people start acting different. It's like I said, step in somebody else's shoes for once, even if it's just mentally. And maybe we'll have a better understanding and maybe we wouldn't act like that. Dear love, T. Shaw, I'm out of here.